Alright, I wanted to make a video just explaining how I grind out XP safely around Hardcore Classic. I've mainly played as Alliance, so I'm not going to go into specifics for Horde at all, and I won't go into specifics about classes that I don't really play. This is just a disclaimer to start with because a lot of people, if you use rested XP or you do a lot of group questing, this isn't really what I'm talking about today. Like, yes, there's faster ways to level. This is more of a guide about how to level safely on hardcore, and I'm more focused on what you're doing solo, because most of the leveling that I've done on hardcore is solo, and I know that's the same way for a lot of people. There's also the solo mode, which I don't really recommend just because I think it just limits trading and it's kind of hard for no reason, and you miss out on, like, trading and fun stuff with other. Even though you still get to group, it's just kind of weird. I don't know if I like that, the way they did that self-found mode instead of solo self-found. It doesn't really work either way you do it in this game, my opinion. But anyway, this guide just kind of is focused on leveling solo, whether you're in that mode or not, and just how to stay alive, grinding XP safely. And again, it's not like a quest guide, because there's plenty of guides out there that'll tell you the most efficient questing route and exactly what quests to grab. But in this case, I'm going to talk about some of the more important quests that might come up, but more than likely I'm going to forget to mention all the quests that you should worry about depending on your class or whatever. But mainly I'm going to look around the map, maybe go through the world a little bit, and just show a few different safe grinding spots that I use to level. And I have really, again, this is not the fast way. This isn't going to be AoE farming like on a mage. There's plenty of ways to level super fast. If you want to level fast, you're going to have people mob tagging for you, etc. So that's enough of a disclaimer to say what I'm talking about here. And this is just to help some of the people who are dying. They're not making it to 60, and I see people talking about how I'm making it to 20 and I keep dying. I just keep dying at 30 and 40. If you're running dungeons with groups and 5-mans, you might die because something happens in a dungeon. One of my characters, my warrior, I didn't want to have anything happen because one of my warriors died at 30 in a 5-man in stockades because the other warrior feared mobs into the other room and we pulled too many. And so since that happened, my warrior died at 30. I leveled my 60 warrior without doing any 5-mans until I hit level 60, just because I didn't even want to risk it. I think I did some group questing maybe in the open world, but that was about it. So that's an option. Like, don't get tricked into going to the high level 5-mans. Make sure you have good groups. Like, vet your people. Don't just go in with anybody. If you're worried about it, use voice chat. Like, that's the number one way to keep yourself safe if you're doing anything risky. Like, take the time to reconsider and plan. Make sure you have consumes and everything. I mean, yeah. So with all of these kind of disclaimers aside, I'm going to start by just showing that I have, first is a bank alt where this isn't really where I have another bank alt that my money is in, but this is just like my equipment, nice pieces of items that I found that I don't want to lose on my character, so I don't want to keep it on my character that I'm farming with, so that dies and I lose all my nice stuff in my bank. Right, so this is just a bank alt that just sits in Ironforge to not die and to, store, whatever. Okay, so you get the picture there. I have one for items and, I guess, materials, and then one for gems, one for potions, consumables. Okay. So I think I'm going to start at the lower levels first and just show what I do. What I generally do is you kind of finish everything you can. Take it slow. So again, this is not the speed running route. This is taking it super slow and safe. And I'm talking about just logging out and getting rested XP, waiting for the buff before you play, type of slow planning. So I like to, again, grind out mobs and not just rush through the quests on my 1 to 5. You know, I'm going to start. Humans is what I play most, and it's the same deal with the gnomes and dwarves, and the same deal with night elves, is in the first level 1 to 5 zone. Grind the white mobs. Don't just rush through the quests. Like, get to level 3 before you even do the first quest, so that you can, you know, be ahead of the game. You don't want to set yourself up to show up to Westfall at level 11, you know, out of quests, and are, you know, trying to do Westfall quests at level 11. That's not what you want to do. So, you know, grind the whites there. Let's talk about out here. You have to find the efficient way to work through Elwyn. I'm gonna assume everybody gets that, because most of our deaths are gonna start at about level 11. So again, the whole way through Elwyn, you're gonna want to just grind white mobs, and that's gonna be the theme of this whole thing. Is just don't focus on rushing through the quests and getting quests done. Focus on grinding the mobs and maybe leveling your professions in the middle of it. Okay, so let's see. When you get to Westfall, I might go over there. Yeah, I'm gonna go over there. I would go over there on a mounted character, but actually, I suppose I could. Yeah, I should. No, actually, I won't, because I just don't want to waste my buffs on my rogue or boon it. Check out the map as we fly over. But I just want to talk about some areas that are good for grinding. I mean, in Westfall, you'll see people on the shoreline doing the crab respawns. That's pretty good. I mean, you'll see mages that like to grab the knoll camps and do AoEs. I tend to do just single mob grinding, like the safe route. Again, slow and safe, not speed run. So I like to fight one mob at a time. I like to just fight a green mob. So that's why I don't want to show up to Westfall at level 11 and start fighting everything that's yellow and orange. I want to be still here in Elwyn, maybe just grinding those knolls, maybe just killing some Defias still in Elwyn until I hit like 12 or 13. And you can start accepting and running in some of the quests, like the quests that send you to talk to Westfall. So we just flew over a Dust Devil. That's a level 19 tornado mob that flies right out there. I'm actually going to go kill it because it's worth farming, just to also show, you know, how dangerous Westfall can be, because when you do come here at like 12 and you're trying to kill these level 12 boars and everything, those will get you killed. So yeah, same thing. Like once you start leveling up a little bit more, you're gonna go through the Defias quests, and then you're gonna get the Defias Pillager quest. That's the name of the server. Everybody kind of knows they're dangerous. It's not just them though. Like the looters will net you, or that maybe that's the trapper. The Defias trapper will net you. So if you pull extras, get some respawns. You got to be careful again about how many people are around while you're leveling. Like sometimes if everybody's killing off all the mobs in an area. By the way, that's the dust devil that's close to the spawn. We're at the flight path there. But you have too many people are fighting the same stuff you're fighting and killing everything off, then sometimes you'll get a lot of stuff respawning at once. I suppose it's a good time to mention this while I'm getting a lot of early disclaimers out of the way, is that caves are super dangerous. The way the respawns work, the fact that you have to run all the way back out through the respawns if something goes wrong in the cave, and just sometimes the pull radius, it's just too close, there's nowhere to go. So yeah, you can imagine caves. They say caves are graves. And then towers are even worse. There's one here in Westfall that a lot of rogues die in. This one right here on the edge of the map. I think it's got like some spiral staircases that cut across. You guys know how the towers look probably. They will definitely attack you on the, what did they call it, the y-axis, the vertical axis. So even though you're 2 flights of stairs below the mobs, you guys are walking through the center point of the tower, and they're swinging down 2 stories just because they're close to you, you know, on that one plane. So anyway, you got to be real careful if you're doing any towers, if you're doing any caves. Anytime when you're in a dungeon down a long hallway making big pulls and there's only one way out, you know, especially if something can respawn behind you, that's just something to think about. So I'll mention this strategy that I do. It's called, like, you kind of have to anchor yourself to a spot. So say pretend I'm only level 10 and I'm like scared to be here, which I should be, you know, like I know I'm safe standing in town, so this is what I call an anchor. So like I'm anchored here, and then if I want to go fight something and just see if I can live, I gotta watch my back and make sure nothing's coming between me and getting back to where I was safe, right? So the minute that I walk out, if there's stuff between me and the fence that can kill me, and I'm still fighting ahead of me, then I'm dangerous. See right there, if I went out to fight that one, okay, but let's say then it went wrong and this bird starts killing me and I gotta run for my life. No, I gotta run for my life. No, right? This bird back there, it's killing me. But then this bird flies in the way too. Now I have 2 things that are definitely killing me. So that's the first thing you got to do. Don't let yourself get drugged, you know, get too far out and fighting that one and then letting stuff get between you and your exit. Okay. So yeah, don't die in Westfall. Everybody seems to die in Westfall, so I'll talk about it for another minute more. The Murlocs along the coast have crazy spawn rates and patrols. Like, don't get caught up out there. Same thing, like, the Harvest Reapers, like, it'll want you to start fighting those at, like, 12 or something. They're 15, and they'll, like, hurt if you get 2 of them. You can get dazed. I'm not an expert at dodging the daze attacks by flipping around, but what I do is, like, when I know I've got to run, I just run. I'm not trying to side, like, while I'm hitting stuff while I'm running. That's what I see a lot of dyers do, is they're running away, but they also think they're a gamer, so they're jumping back and they're hitting, because every time you hit it continues to chain. If you're gonna run for your life, you just need to run. You just need to run your stuff. Yes, you can hit your spells, that might help, but don't try to start turning and sacrificing that straight line, because also then you're, you know, especially don't hit, because then you rechain the mob onto you. Just if you have to, like, if you have to run, you just run. Like, don't try and dodge the days. Don't try and, that's my recommendation. And again, if you're better than me, you probably would. Like, maybe you would, you see the melee swing coming, you just flick it back real quick, you dodge the days, you don't cost yourself. But if you're not confident with your stuff, then don't mess yourself up worse by trying to be the gamer that's dodging and jumping, and then you're doing too much. You would have lived if you just ran straight. A lot of cases. So that's a big one. Unrelated to where you're at on the map or what level you are. I see people when they're running for their lives, they're trying to make one more hit. Like, yeah, on the warrior, like, yeah, I'll definitely try to get a hamstring off and then commit to the straight run. Like, I'm not going to never do anything and just run, like, but there's definitely those times where you're doing too many turns, you're doing too many other things, when if you just were running straight and not touching that thing, it would de-aggro. That another thing is know about rare spawns and elite patrols, like Hogger, where Hogger's going to be at, so that you don't accidentally pull the elite that's, you know, in the area. That gets more important. That gets more important in the more higher level areas, is just knowing where all the elites are. So the next one that you'll probably run into, which I'll talk about right now, is right around the lock. It patrols up and down here. So if you're, you know, around the lock, which I recommend that you do before you do Westfall, you should probably do some of the rat quests here. This, like, some of the trogs. I wouldn't recommend doing the level 16 trogs in the cave before you do Westfall. Go back to Westfall and do a piece of that. So you're going to be swapping back and forth zones and hitting the lower quests first. You know, it's real simple. Just kill the easy quests first. Don't do yellow quests, especially unless you know exactly how it's done and you know you're going to get through it safe. Don't do quests that you're not sure. A lot of quests will spawn monsters on you. I'm forgetting exactly the ones, but there's the one in the bar. A couple class quests, like the mage and the warrior, have one where the quest makes them fight a mob that can kill you. A lot of quests will spawn mobs, so maybe if you don't know the quests, be wary. Like, if you know the quest, then you should know what to do. But if you don't know, make sure you know it's not one of those ones that spawn stuff. Missing Diplomat, I think, does it to you. Legend of Stalvan does it to you. Those are just a couple common ones. Okay. Let's maybe fly my warrior somewhere else to look. So the route I like to do human and start in Stormwind. You can do dwarf and start in Ironforge. So this is basic. Like, you do this stuff, you do this stuff. Yep, all the farm stuff. Yep, and then you're probably gonna go. Okay, so this is what I like to do for the route as it relates to quests. I hit about 10 or 11. I take the Stormpike delivery. I hope to find a teammate for Vagash. You can bounce back and forth. You can hit 5 or 6 and go from Stormwind to Ironforge and do some of the Dunmorrow quests around Ironforge at 6. Or not. Or stay in Elwyn until you're 10 or 11. Or if you're a dwarf, again, you can get to about 5 or 6 and then take the tram from IF and go to Stormwind and do some Elwyn Forest quests to get to 10. Or as a dwarf, you can stay in Dunmorrow all the way until you're 10 or 11. But when you're at about 10 or 11, you want to make sure you're going from IF to Stormwind or from Stormwind to IF, and the reason being is to grab the Stormpike delivery, you hit the tram and do the rat quest in the tram, and then you go into Dunmorrow and wrap up anything in Dunmorrow that you want to touch up before you're over-leveled. Maybe do the gnome speckle sprockets, maybe fight some trolls in the cave. But what you definitely want to do is, I haven't really soloed Vagash very much at level, but I'm going to start a flight. I have always made sure to do it with a group. Like, every character, because the route is so nice to hit the Rat Tram quest, wrap up Dunmorrow, get Vagash, then you go and do the Stone Splinter Trog cave. I'm trying to remember. I should have set up a character that was like right there so I could remember exactly the names of all the quests as I go through, but then you're running to do the Stormpike delivery. You do the little pilot quest on the way there, where you fight that polar bear thing. And then you do your Stormpike delivery, and then you go get the flight path for the Loch Modan, and then you decide right there, like, you probably knock out some of the easy quests, the easy trogs, the easy tunnel rats. Careful in the cave, the tunnel rat cave. And then, maybe wait on the cave. I wait on the cave till I'm like 15. Then, you grab what you want to grab in Loch Modan, and then you, then it starts to get to the more dangerous trogs. Then I recommend you go back to, like, finish up Elwyn, make sure, and then finish up, or, get the easy quest done in Westfall, and that means, like, killing the boars, killing the trappers and the looters, I think, right over the hill at Sentinel Hill. And then once you do that, you can then start dipping back and forth from Westfall to Loch Modan and kind of just grinding white mobs again always, but taking the easy quests out. So once you're done with that, you're hitting about 17, 18. You can start dipping your toe into Redridge, and just do the quests in town. And I think you start getting some like messenger quests, so where you're just kind of courier messenger across, like, from town to town. You're going from here to Westfall to Stormwind and back. You can risk at 17 or 18 running past the level 18, 19 spiders to try to run into, from here down the road to into Duskwood. You can try to run from Redridge into Duskwood and then deliver the messenger quest. I mean, I wait until I'm about 19 to do that. Yeah, so hopefully so far that'll at least help you guys make it to 20 if you're already dying a lot before 20, which a lot of people are. Those are just some easy ways. Okay, so that's an easy quest route. Again, if you're staying safe, like, I could go through individually and say which routes, like, kind of to take. You just run straight down for these quests. You got to watch for bears. You guys will make it to 20 if you just slow it down and focus on mob grinding and logging out, getting some rested and taking it easy. Everyone can do it. It's not that hard. It's just, if you sitting there and you're like, well, I have this quest, so I got to go do the quest. Well, now you're dying because you're trying to go to the bottom of the cave. You're trying to go kill Goldtooth, and you're only 7, and then you got respawns behind you. Same thing, like, you're trying to get the oats for Blanchy, but you're pulling the level 14 Mechanical Reaper, like, you're trying to get the Murloc eyes, but you're pulling 3 Murlocs. You're trying to, do the Pillagers, and you pull an extra. Okay, so now I'm gonna say you're pretty much done with Elwyn. You're done with Westfall. You're done with Loch Modan. Maybe 1 or 2 quests still remains over there, and some you skip. So you're ready to start Redridge. The orcs right here, they net, and they net real bad. So don't come up here at 19 and die to 3 orcs netting you right away outside of town. Happens to a lot of people. Other than that, the elite quests get real dangerous. You can see I still haven't done these Blackrock champions up in this cave because there's too many spawns all close together. Again, if you go up there with a party, you can do it, but it's got a cave that they'll want to do the escort quest maybe. So just, again, if you're leveling fast and you're efficient and you're playing good, yeah, you want to do that. But if you're dying and you're not making it, and you're joining parties you're not sure to try and get a little bit of XP out of this quest, it's not going to be worth it. Like, think about the time it takes to coordinate people and do these quests and get to these dangerous areas. If you spent that same amount of time just killing green mobs, you'd be safer, probably same XP, probably make some money with less risk. I don't know. You just something to think about as you're deciding what quests you want to do. So I skip a lot of these elite quests. Yeah, I should have done this one. I should have grabbed, like, but the belly grab can be dangerous. Has a lot of health. Okay, so I think I'm gonna log, yeah, so these are those orcs. I think I'm gonna log and skip, I'm gonna start skipping around a little bit. Now that we've talked about Red Ridge, what's gonna happen next is, and I might not walk through it, but it's probably gonna be your wetlands run. So you're gonna have to kind of completely exhaust what you can safely do there in Red Ridge. And then there might be one quest along the shore. There might be one quest along the shore in Duskwood, the wolves and those spiders right there that you can do. But then you're going to want to think about getting through the wetlands and getting to Menethil, and then probably going across and doing Darkshore, Aberdeen. Because, I mean, Darn Rep is nice to have, and the quests in Eastern Kingdoms are kind of leaving a gap that you need to bridge to get yourself into Duskwood comfortably by like level 25, 26. So coming over here and hitting your way through these, and now I'm more of an Eastern Kingdoms expert, coming down here, grabbing the Ashara flight path, the Nagas on the coast. I am not an expert on Kalimdor, to be honest. I know my way around the Eastern Kingdoms very, very well. I haven't spent as much time on Kalimdor, so I'm not gonna comment too much on the efficient quest routes or even the safe, like the safe paths on some of these zones over here. But I'll just say, take the same principle of doing green quests, fighting green mobs where you can, slowing down. And again, if quests are hard, don't do them. Like, there's a lot of quests over here. You may just want to come over here and get exploration XP, get flight paths, do the easy quests, get in and get out. That's the way I do it over here, because I haven't leveled very many night elves, so I'm not like as up, and I haven't played very much Horde, so I'm again not as much time on this continent in Classic. Yep, but do prepare yourself by getting the, what is this? Is this called Astronar? No. Astronar. I called it something else. I called it Ashara. This flight path. Because you're going to want to do the Light of Elune quest right about the level my warrior was, about 30. That's when it's safe. You can do it lower level to get your Light of Elune. You can do it at like 28 or so, but you have to go underwater, and sometimes you could get frozen underwater. Yeah. So now I'm assuming that you survived all of that. And now you are... Oh, I like to get the Light of Elune and then go get your do the light of a loon and then go get the ratchet. Flight path? Is that what this is? I think. Yeah, right here, maybe. Because it sends you into the Barrens to get the light of balloon guy. And then I usually get this, float over and get Booty Bay, is that right? And then like fly up and back, come back around and turn that in. So I'm gonna try and kind of speed through the next few zones, because the video's getting long. But I just wanted to make sure that I talked about most of that stuff. So let's see, where did I leave my warrior? Maybe I'll just hearth it. So right now at this level is basically where my warrior's at. I just got my light of a loon, right? So I just finished what I was talking about. Plus, what I did on my warrior next after getting the light of a loon was I started working on Duskwood right here. I pretty far. Okay. You can see I still have a few things over here that I need to do. I guess I skipped the crab cakes, whatever. But I did a lot of this Raven Hill stuff already. I did a lot of this and the first Worgen one already. And I'm 32. I've been trying to get dungeons in on this character, so I did do Dead Mines and Stockades, and I think SFK, and a few dungeons on this. I just did a SM Graveyard. Kind of a waste of time to run up there as this level for just a Graveyard, but we did. So that's what's helped me get to 32 is those nice dungeon runs on top of the like mellow questing route. I'm not going to say too much about Duskwood as I fly over there. Like, I don't think there's too much to worry about other than, okay, stitches. Even logging out in the inn is, like, suspect. You got to be careful on all these paths, especially if you go underground in the crypts. There's respawns, okay, more Ladim's patrol around this is famous for getting people, so don't die to stitches along this road. You know, all the time when you're questing right along this stretch, you know, from this intersection all the way down, you got to be mindful of him being on a pat, probably. Same thing with Morladim. Anytime you're around the Raven Hill, you got to be mindful of him on a pat. Anytime I'm questing there, I'd probably find Morladim and put a star over his head so that I can see him patting up to me. It's nice. Same thing, like if you're wherever you're questing, if there's an elite that you don't want to fight that keeps patrolling around, maybe put a star on its head, put a mark on its head so that you can see it, like before it gets too close. Alright. So once I finish a little bit more of Duskwood here, and I'm probably ready, actually, now that I'm 32, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to fly to Westfall, and I'm going to run down the river into STV. And I'm going to slowly start killing the tigers and the panthers and getting my foot in the door in STV. And just grinding them out. Luckily, I have saved, so I saved all the pages from Stranglethorn, so I have a couple bank alts that, now that I've leveled a few characters, I'm saving all of my, you know, items that are not soulbound that I can trade off that are quest items for my alts. So if you can remember to save those extra quest items and you don't need to sell them for money, that can be pretty nice. STV, it would be probably worthwhile for me to run through the spawns there, now that I'm thinking about it. It would probably be worth it for me to run around STV and show kind of where I grind, but I don't know. I already have my paladin sitting ready. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe we'll get the paladin over there. Since the paladin's already where it's at, maybe I'll skip ahead a little bit. No, let's just do it. I'll just go ahead and fly the paladin down there so we can talk about where we go through STV. Because I have the paladin here because this is what level. This is pretty much what I like to do at 50. Is those ogres around that Dreadmaw rock right here. Anyway, we'll talk about STV real quick. I did not do Curzon Cave until I was like way over leveled. I didn't bother doing the elites for Nessingwary until I had a group. And especially on my paladin, but pretty much all my characters, I didn't take on those dangerous elite quests without help or being super over leveled, just because I didn't want to even leave it a chance. I just took my time, farmed other STV mobs, which are dropped, like the really lucrative drops on a lot of what you're farming in STV if you're just of level, or even, anytime. So it's not bad to be in STV just grinding white mobs like you're in hardcore. That's when you're 30 plus. You're really starting to feel like you're got a lot invested into your character by the time you're running through Stranglethorn Vale. So just, again, like we always do, take it slow. Green mobs, green quests. Log out and get some rested. Come back. Don't even do the quests with your rested. Just grind out the mobs, log out, get the rested again. Like, the more rested you can come in with, the less risk uptime you're gonna have out in the world. So rested XP is always so juicy for hardcore. Yeah, so be real careful with the trolls. Moshog Ogre Mound over here has got elites patrolling around it. This is the door to ZG. There's elites right there. The elite raptors down there. There's a big old gorilla elite on this island. There's like a moss giant elite on this island. Another moss giant elite on this side. Some of the quests are super dangerous. The Ward of Zimra right there is super dangerous. This gorilla cave thing, super dangerous. The arena has PvP, so you can be killed by other players if you go in Gurbashi Arena. I went in there with my paladin and my rogue because I like the trinket. I wanted 5 stamina, so I just went in there. I'm not gonna keep going back and over and over. Okay. I think I'm changing my mind. I don't know if I'm gonna run around STV. I feel like I talked about it enough. I showed you guys on the map where the dangerous stuff is. If you follow the rule of thumb, I don't think you're gonna need me to really run through everything showing you guys. I can fly to booty though, and I'll just fly over it. We can talk about it again if I have to fly over it. But anyway, so STV is not something that you want to finish like the quest and say, okay, I got STV done. We're moving on, because the quests range there from 30 to 45, 40, like 49. So you're gonna, intermix a lot of other zones while you're doing STV. So I haven't even talked about South Shore yet. So there's a couple runs that you have to do. The wetlands run, you can do it at about 20, as long as you're careful with the 23 crocodiles and maybe don't even engage them. Some classes, like my warrior, was losing 1v1. Like my 21 warrior was definitely losing to the 23 crocodile 1v1 without like hitting a potion or something. So that can get dangerous, but as long as sometimes you get unlucky, like, and there's a pat and you just got the wrong timing. That's why if you can wait till you're 21 or 22, you should be able to make it through this run, as long as you stay on the road or whatever. But even at about 30, there's still a couple quests that you can still come back and do. And I didn't really touch on them either before I started STV, but you definitely do want to do the raptors. You definitely do want to do like the green warden real quick, and some of the murlocs. Maybe the slime bag get you a 10 slot bag. So yeah, I did forget some of those quests, but you do, those are ones that you'll definitely mix in when you're going over to like go to Kalimdor. You're gonna have the flight path and kind of knock some of those out. Yeah, once you're 34, maybe 35, you can start checking out some of these. There's a couple quests that are worth doing, I think, over in Arathi. Couple of quests. The Troll Cave gets a little bit dangerous. The Wandering Elite around is yellow, the big rock giant, but then I think there's like a horseback patrol, like a horde guard or something like that patrols, or like a scarlet humanoid horseback patrol elite that walks the road in Arathi. I think that's like the big danger. It's real dangerous when you're trying to do the South Shore run. Like if you're trying to do SFK, you really got to watch the pats. I've been lucky; I haven't pulled any pats running through Arathi at 24 or 25. Like I haven't had any raptors run off the road after me or my team so far, but it very easily could happen. So really mind your P's and Q's when you're going there. And then of course in Hillsbrad, everybody when they're trying to go get the South Shore flight path. I know we're a little bit out of order here, but Torren Mill, Death Guards in this area. So when you go through the Arathi Highlands wall, you're going to just hug down left to here. You're not going to go across this bridge. You are not going to go even up to here. See a Durnhold Keep? You see the Durnhold Keep, you're just going to go skirt off the road and down across the river towards your guards. And this. And then also keep that in mind whenever you're going up to go to like here, whenever you're trying to run up to like, if you're ever going to the Western Plaguelands, so you're going to go to get to Chillwind Camp, I come up the mountain and I skirt the side of the mountain as I go up. I don't just come waltzing up this road. Torren Mill Death Guards, I see them getting people all the time. I guess what does remind me, people die to Benny Blanco all the time right here. That's like a real popular death. Like, just, again, you don't have to do the quest. Like, wait 2 levels and come back and do the quest. You know? Yeah, so that's South Shore. Okay, while we're talking about South Shore levels, I guess real quick, we're in STV levels. So I'll talk about how I run across these to Scarlet Monastery. So you cross the river that I just showed, those islands you're hopping across. You cross the river. I go, again, right by this tower. I don't even go anywhere right. Oh, no. I go way out here. There's probably a faster way. Anybody can show you a faster way. This guide is just like the safe way. Okay, that's the way I go. Just the safe way to level. Talk about STV. I'm saying we're about 35 right now. So now I'm probably getting the Stone Talon Peak done. Maybe I'm gonna go grab the Desolace Flight Path 35-36 range. I don't think I'm doing any Desolace quests yet. At about level 35. I do want to get to the Shimmering Flats though. I don't really do much here. A little first aid, not much. It's just me. It's personal preference on top of like the way that I plan safe grinding routes. That's about it. So yep, take the boat, ratchet, run down the elevator. I mean, I mind my P's and Q's here, but I don't think the guards engage. Don't die to the elevator. These are real great quests at about 35. Super nice. All of these. And I even grab the Gadget Flight Path around then. Yeah.